I have got 1,000,004 photos on this table. Stop for just a second. Let's hear a great big collective whoop-de-dee-doo. It took me 30 years to collect these photos. I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Right now, we are talking about cleaning and clutter. We've started a Facebook group called Hoarding World, where we are changing our relationship with stuff. I don't want you to get rid of your stuff, and I don't want you to become a minimalist. What I want you to do is I want you to analyze the things you have and the reasons why. Today we're taking a look at photos. Now, I'm very organized and this is it, right? This is awesome! A table full of photos. The problem is I have a table full of photos. Okay, when I got my first camera, it was one of those clunky cameras and it had a little tiny sugar cube square that you would hold up to your eye and you hope to be able to take a good picture. If you were able to take a good picture, when you sent off the spool of film to the developer, they would send you pictures back. Okay, each picture was about 24 cents, and you got a discount if you bought two of the same picture. So I always bought two, one for me and one for the other person in the picture. Then they would come back in these little envelopes, right? Little envelopes of pictures that had the pictures and the negatives. And then we would put a rubber band around them to preserve them until we were able to put them in our photo albums. Okay, the interesting thing about the pictures is sometimes they would send us pictures back that were grainy, or it was just a picture of someone's leg that we couldn't identify, but we never tossed those photos. We put the good photos inside the photo albums, and the bad pictures we saved. We saved them because they cost money, right? And we did not want to throw away good money. So we saved our bad bum photos. I don't know why. Okay, so over the years, I did toss them, and I narrowed it down to just a few packs. But what was cool about this? I was good with photos. I was really good. And I would label the back of every photo with the person who was in the photo and the year. And I did it as I went, so one day I would never get old and have big boxes of photos that I had to sort through. So as I sorted through the photos, then I put them inside great big photo albums that have the big plastic sheets where you open the sheets and you pull it back over the picture, and so that you can preserve the picture. And you'll see that some of the pictures are missing. Family members have stolen them over time, okay? So family members come and they're like, oh, I'd like to have that picture, and they take it with them. But what I did was I made little tiny photo albums. These each hold about, 24 or 30 photos. And so what I did for birthdays is I would make little photo albums, one for me and one for the person that was in the photo. And I would give them a little photo album for their birthday or for Christmas. I thought it was a great way to say, hi, I appreciate the time that we were able to spend together. Okay, well, the good news is I got gobs of these, right? Boxes of these little photo albums. And then what happened is one day they introduced scanners. And I said, scanners, this is so awesome. And I started scanning my photos so I'd have digital copies of them, so I'd have an electronic version. And we saved them on a zip drive. We later saved them on CDs. And then I had lots and lots and lots of CDs. At one point I had boxes of CDs. Then I transferred the CDs over to hard drives. And so now I have hard drives, like you see, I have gobs of hard drives, probably 15 right here in front of us. These are all 5 terabyte hard drives. So lots and lots of storage of photos, right? Because as a house cleaner, I would be inside lots of people's houses, and I never wanted to have hundreds of photos where I had to dust all the frames and get out a makeup brush and go through all the little crevices and dust all the pictures themselves. I wanted to have digital versions, okay? So I was really keen on storing all my digital versions, and I've got boxes of these, right? Photo albums of CDs of photos, and photos that I've transferred over now that are on hard drives. And I still have all the little photo albums that I printed, and bigger photo albums that have pictures in them as well, right? Photo after photo after photo. But the reality is this: most of these photos don't mean anything to anyone except me and the person that was in the photo. And I already gave them a copy. So who are all these photos for? And what's really interesting is if you were to look at some of my photos, you'd say, wow, that's a really interesting photo. There's probably a story here. But if I wasn't here to tell the story, this picture of an alley in Venice is not going to mean anything to anyone except me and my husband, who are in that alley for 4 hours, right? There is a story there, but it's not going to mean anything to anyone unless I am there to share the story. All right, so our relationship to stuff. do you have photos, and what are you going to do with them, and why do you still have them? The reason I ask is this. I'm really organized when it comes to my photos. But the reality is I'm probably never going to print another photo in my life. I'm not doing photo albums anymore. And it's not because I don't want to share it with you, but now I want to share it with everyone. The way that we share photos now has changed. I was in Cancun a couple of weeks ago, and there were some cool things there. So I took pictures of it, and what did I do? I posted it to Facebook. And instead of saving it in a little photo album that I could show 3 or 4 of my friends when they come over, now I can share it with everyone, right? I can post it to all my friends and go, whoop-diddy-doo, I'm now in Cancun. Check out this really cool thing. And a lot of you jumped online and you were like, yo, wow, that's really awesome, right? And you gave it a thumbs up or what have you, and that was it. That was the end of the picture, and it still lives on Facebook, and I still have a digital copy of it. The cool part about it is this. The way we share photos has changed. The photo albums that we have are now online. They live in a cloud. And so my suggestion to you is, what are you doing with your photos? And do you need to do something different than what you did in the past? Okay? The problem is this. If I were to leave this earth today, and none of us know how much time we have, there's a table of photos that someone has to deal with. And like I said, who do they mean anything to except me, right? Wouldn't it be more impressive if on my funeral program, as I'm leaving the earth, they say, thanks for participating in Angela's life. Here is a link to her journey if you want to explore a little bit more. People could go online, they could look through all the photo albums, they could look at all the different trips that I've been on, they could see all the cars and all the fancy homes and all the stuff that I had while I was on this earth, if it even mattered to them. One link. Wouldn't that be far easier than an entire table full of photos that somebody has to sit there and say, oh my goodness, what do we do with all this now? All right, I want you guys to start thinking about your photos. What kind of photos do you have? Do you have a program for your photos? Are they digitized? Are they accessible to the people who they might mean something to? What are you doing with the tables of the photos in your house? I want you to make a decision. Leave your comments and questions in the notes below. I want to hear what is your plan with your photos. All right, until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.